Listen closely. Can you feel it? The hush of North Atlantic winds sweeping across endless emerald cliffs. The thunder of waves smashing into black volcanic walls. The soft, haunting bleat of sheep drifting through mist-covered fjords like ancient voices carried by the sea. It's as if the entire archipelago exhales a primordial calm, an untouched rhythm older than kingdoms and maps. Welcome to the Faroe Islands, one of Earth's last true frontiers of solitude. A remote Nordic archipelago, cradled in the storm-sculpted cradle of the North Atlantic, perched between Norway and Iceland like a secret whispered by the ocean. Here, 18 rugged volcanic isles rise from the deep, a self-governing jewel of Denmark where time slows, traditions endure, and nature writes the script. Every corner feels like a forgotten chapter of the Viking sagas, carved by wind, water, and the patience of centuries. With just over 55,000 people and nearly 70,000 freely wandering sheep, the Faroes are a sanctuary of sustainable living and untouched wilderness. Far from the crowds of mainland Scandinavia or Iceland's tourist trails, these islands offer something rarer: cliffs bursting with puffins, fjords steeped in folklore, and villages where Nordic seclusion wraps around you like a healing silence. In these landscapes, your heartbeat feels louder, your thoughts clearer, and the world's chaos fades into the roar of distant surf. This isn't a destination for mass tourism. It's an invitation to step off the grid, to breathe, to wander, to discover hidden waterfalls, remote mountaintops, and sunsets that turn the sky into a quiet masterpiece. Every path feels personal, every horizon untouched, as if the islands reveal themselves only to those willing to slow down and truly see. In the Faroes, you don't just visit nature, you disappear into it. In the next few moments, we'll drift together through a Nordic dreamscape, where cloud-wrapped peaks meet ancient seas, and silence carries the weight of centuries. From the story-filled streets of Tórshavn to the puffin throne of Mykines, we'll wander eco-friendly trails, glide through mirror-still fjords, and slip into a culture forged by Viking grit and ocean-born resilience. Prepare to witness landscapes so surreal they feel painted, and traditions so preserved they feel sacred. This is the Faroe Islands, an untouched sanctuary of cliffs, fjords, and meditative isolation. So, breathe in, let the northern winds guide you, and follow the call of the Faroes. Our journey begins in the swirling mists of the North Atlantic, where the Faroe Islands rise like emerald guardians from the deep. Born of colossal volcanic eruptions some 55 million years ago, these basalt giants were carved by ancient glaciers into a dramatic kingdom of stone. 1,400 square kilometers of raw wilderness. Here, cliffs tower nearly 900 meters into the sky, fjords strike inland like blades once wielded by Vikings, and more than 1,100 kilometers of rugged coastline stand against the fury of endless waves. It's a landscape shaped by fire and ice, yet softened by endless green, an untouched realm where the earth still feels young. Even their name reflects their spirit. Faroeyjar, Old Norse for sheep islands, a timeless tribute to the hardy creatures that roam freely across the wind-swept hills, shaping both land and legend. Their presence is woven into everything: myths, meals, and the quiet rhythm of rural life, reminding travelers that the Faroes were forged not for convenience, but for resilience. Human history arrives here like a whisper carried on salt and wind. The first known settlers were Norse Vikings, escaping overcrowded fjords in Norway and landing on these remote shores around 825 AD. They carved farms into the green hills and established a parliament at Tinganes, one of the oldest still-functioning parliamentary sites on Earth, tracing back to around 900 AD. Its red timber buildings still cling to the harbor today, standing as living relics of governance older than many nations. Some say Irish monks may have reached the islands even earlier in the 6th century, seeking silence and spiritual solitude. But it was Viking culture that truly took root, later braided with traces of Celtic influence. For centuries, the Faroes shifted under Scandinavian rule, Norwegian until 1380, Danish from 1814, and after generations of weathering storms, isolation, and pirate raids, the islands secured self-governance in 1948. They remain connected to Denmark for defense and foreign affairs, yet stand outside both the EU and the Schengen zone. This independence is felt everywhere, from traditional fishing rights to the preservation of language and customs, all fiercely protected by islanders who have learned to thrive at the world's edge. The 20th century transformed life here. Ferries, bridges, and tunnels stitched the isles together, while renewable energy rose as a modern triumph. Today, roughly half the island's power comes from wind, water, and wave, chasing a bold vision of 100% green energy by 2030. Now step deeper into the Faroese way of life, a quiet genius shaped by nature, humility, and Nordic seclusion. With sheep far outnumbering humans, the landscape beats with a pastoral rhythm. Farmers tending flocks across slopes so steep they seem to touch the clouds, fishermen hauling Arctic cod from crisp fjord waters, and families gathering for kvöldstur, cozy evenings of storytelling, knitting, and song. In these simple traditions, you feel the heartbeat of a people who've mastered contentment in isolation, crafting warmth in a land ruled by weather and wind. The Faroese language, a lilting descendant of Old Norse, dances through the villages, though nearly everyone speaks fluent English. Culture here thrives not in grandeur, but in simplicity. The iconic chain dance, hands linked, feet stomping, voices rising in ancient ballads, pulls generations together at festivals like Mulafossur on July 28-29, a radiant celebration of national pride, sports, music, and tradition in the heart of Tórshavn. It's a moment when the islands glow with unity, transforming the quiet capital into a vibrant tapestry of color and culture. Knitting isn't just a craft here. It's a lifeline woven through generations. The iconic Faroese sweaters, patterned after waves, mountains, and migrating birds, are spun from hardy local wool that once outfitted Danish soldiers braving winter seas. Each stitch carries a story, a quiet testament to the islanders' resilience and the rhythm of seasons shaped by wind, rain, and ocean mist. The cuisine mirrors this deep bond with the land. Fresh-caught fish, grass-fed lamb cured by ocean winds, rhubarb nurtured in home gardens, and, at the legendary Michelin-starred Cox, wild herbs and foraged flavors transformed into cutting-edge Nordic art. Here, food becomes a dialogue with the landscape itself, a celebration of simplicity elevated to something almost sacred. Eco-living isn't a trend, it's tradition. Turf-roofed houses breathe with the weather, naturally insulating against North Atlantic storms and blending effortlessly into the green hillsides. Travelers often join voluntourism efforts, repairing hiking paths, restoring habitat, or aiding conservation, as iconic spots like Sléttaratindur close temporarily for protection. This partnership between locals and visitors forms a rare, respectful balance, ensuring that the islands remain pristine for generations still to come. And in heritage-rich villages like Kirkjubøur, home to medieval farmhouses and the ancient stone bones of Magnus Cathedral from the 1300s, life slows to a gentle rhythm. Conversations in candlelit cafes, auroras shimmering overhead, and a rare quiet that feels carved from time itself. Wander these historic lanes and you'll sense centuries layered beneath your feet, whispering through every moss-covered wall. But the island's greatest enchantment? the raw, cinematic drama of cliffs and fjords that define this Nordic paradise. On Streymoy, the largest island, Mulafossur Waterfall drops nearly 30 meters straight into the Atlantic, a silver thread stitching green cliffs to the sea beside the tiny village of Gásadalur. Once so remote, it required a grueling mountain trek before a tunnel opened in 2004. Stand near its edge, and you'll feel the ground tremble with the ocean's breath, as if the islands themselves are alive. Walk the coastal trail to feel the full force of the ocean, gulls crying overhead, puffins slicing through the wind. Not far away lies the optical marvel of Lake Sørvágsvatn, Lighthouse to locals, whose waters appear to float high above the ocean from the iconic Trellenipen viewpoint. Known as Slave's Cliff in Viking lore, it's a place where nature, myth, and gravity itself seem to bend to the island's will. From here, the horizon stretches into a dreamlike expanse. Sea, sky, and stone merging in a panorama that feels almost otherworldly. Sail out to the legendary Vestmanna Bird Cliffs, where 300-meter basalt walls rise like cathedral pillars from the restless North Atlantic. Here, more than 150,000 seabirds, fulmars, kittiwakes, and guillemots wheel and spiral above the crashing surf in hypnotic patterns, their calls echoing against jagged rock faces. Boat tours glide between towering sea stacks and mysterious grottos, each carved by millennia of relentless storms, making you feel as if you've stepped into a living Nordic myth where the wind and waves are the storytellers. Venture farther north to Mykines, the UNESCO-protected bird sanctuary where thousands of puffins, the whimsical clowns of the sea, nest on emerald ridges from May through August. Their bright, candy-colored beaks flicker among wildflowers as the Atlantic wind whistles through the cliffs, carrying the scent of salt and moss. Hiking to the remote Mykines Lighthouse rewards you with sweeping, untouched panoramas of fjords and ocean beyond, but access is strictly limited, preserving the fragile balance of this airborne kingdom. Then there's Kalsoy, the enigmatic Flute Island, its narrow single-lane tunnels slicing through rugged rock like hidden passageways to another time. Drive to the windswept village of Trollhättan, then trek toward the iconic Kallur Lighthouse, perched precariously on cliffs so sheer they seem to tumble straight into the ocean's abyss below. Every step feels charged with the raw energy of the sea, and the horizon stretches infinitely, a painter's canvas of light, wind, and stone. Saxun emerges like a storybook scene from a Norse legend, a tidal lagoon encircled by towering amphitheater cliffs, a solitary turf-roofed church, and a meticulously preserved farmhouse whispering centuries of human resilience against nature's might. In the village of Gjögv, a natural gorge harbor cradled by majestic mountains invites moments of stillness, picnics beside calm waters, puffins nesting just a few feet away, and salt-tinged breezes carrying the scents of grass and stone, a reminder of the island's timeless rhythm. And for the crowning glory of the archipelago, ascend Sléttaratindur, the Faroes' highest peak at 987 meters. On crystal-clear days, its summit unveils a breathtaking 360-degree panorama over all 18 islands, a serene expanse so vast it feels like standing at the edge of the world, where the wind whispers secrets of volcanic fire, glacial sculpting, and millennia of oceanic power. Yet the Faroes guard their secrets within drifting mists, legends whispered across centuries and carried on the salt-laden wind. Locals tell tales of trolls frozen into stone by the first light of dawn, eternally immortalized in the towering sea stacks of Risinogkellingin, the giant and the witch, looming over the restless North Atlantic, a myth etched into the rugged coastline. Hidden wonders reveal themselves at every turn. On Nólsoy, a car-free haven of winding paths and soft green meadows, puffins nest tranquilly beside the world's largest storm petrel colony, their quiet flutters punctuating the stillness. Subsea tunnels, like the 6.3-kilometer Vagatunnelen, thread beneath the ocean floor, connecting islands in a feat of modern engineering that feels almost mythical, as if the land itself breathes beneath the waves. In winter, the northern lights ripple across the silent fjords in waves of green and violet. In summer, cliffs bask under endless golden daylight, a sun that refuses to set. Seek the undiscovered, ancient footpaths linking remote villages, or volunteer tourism programs where you help rebuild trails and earn the rare privilege of staying immersed in Faroese life. Travelers call it pure magic, puffins almost within reach, silence broken only by wind or waves, and hikes where sheep outnumber people at every turn. Today, the Faroes shine as a beacon of eco-conscious living. Half of the island's energy comes from hydro and wind, with an ambitious goal of reaching full sustainability by 2030. Tourism caps and conservation efforts shield fragile sites. Volunteers labor each spring to restore paths, while even sheep, fitted with camera harnesses, have contributed to mapping the islands for Google Street View. Challenges remain, from climate-driven erosion to the delicate balance of nesting cliffs, but stewardship programs protect the archipelago's staggering biodiversity, home to over 300 bird species, including 150,000 puffins. Travel thoughtfully, rely on public ferries, carry reusable gear, and support the artisans who sustain Faroese traditions. As the sun dips behind jagged basalt peaks and the fjords shimmer in molten gold, feel the stillness settle deep into your bones. Here, time slows, nature heals, and solitude transforms into a rare, precious gift. The Faroe Islands aren't just visited, they are experienced, untouched, unhurried, and quietly calling. Thank you for joining this Nordic escape. Subscribe for more journeys into the world's serene and hidden wonders. Until next time, let the islands whisper their invitation to you.